Well, how much is he stalking her at this moment? Maybe she was even the reason he was scared.
I know. What if he's like stalking her and she gets home and she's like freaked out and he's like,
Yes. I saw a car. He's off his game because she would never have seen his car.
oh
But
my God.
Welcome to the story. It's story time with Skye. You can fall in love and laugh until you cry. It's story time with Skye. It's story time with Skye.
Welcome to Storytime with Skye. I'm your host, New York Times bestselling author Skye Warren. Every week, I tell a brand new story based on the heroes, heroines, and meet-cutes that you want to hear about. I bring on some of my favorite romance authors as guests to help me craft a hilarious, steamy, and ultimately romantic story with a guaranteed happily ever after. So pour a glass of something fun. Welcome to the story.
Hi, everyone. I'm here with Laurelin Paige, who writes, what do you write? Is it paranormal? Is it historical? Tell me what you write.
I write contemporary billionaires and some romantic suspense, edgy, and also some rom-com when I feel like it with Katie McGee. So
Super hot, super smart. And where have we seen your books before? What are a couple of the big ones?
So Fixed on You is my biggest book and was my book that launched me like 10 years ago. But also the Slay series. Right now I'm in the middle of Brutal Billionaires series, and I have another one coming up really soon in that world. So look for Brutal Secret. I'm not sure when this is airing. It might already be out by then, and it comes out in September. And then Dirty Donovan. Dirty Filthy Rich Man is my other favorite.
Love it. And how do you feel like you get your ideas? Like, where do they come from?
My my ideas usually come from really great other people's ideas. Like a great book or a great television show that has like a moment that really just tickles my ids, and then I want to travel somewhere with them, usually in a different direction than whatever author or storyteller, what if it's a show, the writer took it, and I'll create a whole thing about it. Like usually it's a moment, just one moment and maybe, you'll be watching, You or something. I'll be watching Carolyn Kepnes's You, and there'll be one moment and I'll want to turn it into a whole book and capture that same feeling that one moment gives. So my inspiration very much comes from other people's art.
I love it. I love it. And I do feel like TV is a really good inspo because they're always like not giving people HEAs on TV.
Oh, yes.
It's very
Oh,
painful, actually, as like a viewer. But from a creative point of view, I'm like, guess what? Everyone's getting a happy ending.
Oh, yeah. My current series is really fanfic of Secession. Secession is not romantic at all, but it has like all the things that I love: money and power and greed and family drama. And so, yeah, let's pack that all in and now give people HEAs.
I love Secession. And yes, it is the perfect setting for a romance. It's just like missing. I feel like there's a romance shape piece missing from the show. And then we're just like, oh, I'll just add it in and then it's complete.
Right. They're all so broken. They all want daddy's love and they're broken for it. They just need to like find somebody else to love them, and then they'll all be better.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of billionaires, let's go see what it is that readers wanted us to talk about. Okay. So I actually have this concept, and I really think I'm going to do it, but I haven't done it yet, where I just can't figure out like the execution of it. But I really want to create like essentially like a wheel of heroes, like either like a physical wheel that we spin and it lands on heroes, or I sort of have this vision of like playing slots, It's like
Yes.
you pull the lever and it's like boop, boop, boop. And it's 3 different things. So yeah, I kind of want a story slot. Oh my God, story slot machine. That's going to happen.
Story slot machine. Exactly. It's like those old improv games. I was a theater major. So those are improv games, like
Yes.
give us a
Yes.
noun and
Yes.
and
Perfect.
place. Yeah.
Okay. So this time I did it as a poll because I don't have a magical slot machine yet, but it's going to happen. Okay. So the hero, actually, no, I did say hero. Okay. The hero is an assassin.
Oh.
I
Okay.
know. Have you ever written an assassin hero?
No, I've written some that like, get close to being assassins, but not quite
Yeah,
assassins.
I haven't either, which I have thought before is a little bit odd because I write a lot of darkish books and anti-heroes,
Yeah.
but I have never, I mean, I think one of the reasons why I haven't is I really like them when their own boss, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
sort of don't, I mean, it's not that I would never do it, but like the thing about being an assassin is like inherently you have bosses, right? You either have one boss or you have lots of bosses.
The thing I don't like about I've never written it. This is why I've never written Assassin, is because I feel like so much of that story would take place away from the female.
Mm.
Because like, and I feel that way even with some harder core, mafia stories, that there's just a whole other plot lines that are usually about mafia stuff
I see
or
what you're saying.
assassin stuff. And I'm like, I don't really want to write anything that's not like,
Okay, I see what you're saying. However,
I know we could
I
fix it.
sort of think that this one might be different because for the heroine, they picked prosecuting attorney.
Oh, okay.
I know. That's not what I thought they were going to say at all. So they
The
really want to.
courtroom drama would be boring though. So, right. So there's
No,
got to
it's
be
not going to be
like, you
courtroom
said a
drama.
kidnapper or something.
Okay, I have some thoughts, but let's just.
Okay.
Well, no, we could do the thoughts actually because before I so my thought would be, what if? Okay. So I feel like a really typical trope for if you're going to do an assassin is he's hired to kill her, right?
Yeah. Yep.
It doesn't have to be like he can be hired to kill someone else, but like if he's hired to kill her, but like wouldn't they do that if there was a really good prosecuting attorney and she was going to win a case against a super bad guy? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. And then he's got to decide, maybe I don't want to finish the job. But like, obviously, my boss is some super big deal person who can finish the job on both of us if I just
Yep.
do it.
It's like it's giving me Monster in His Eyes, vibes. And it's like one of my favorite books of all time.
I don't think I read that one. I have read other books by the author who I can't think of her name right now. What's her name?
Jam Darhauer.
Jam Darhauer. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really good anti-heroes. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The idea of like, I'm supposed to kill you and now I can't. That's a great trope.
And I think what would be compelling about that is that you'd have suspense as like they're trying to escape, and then you'd have like sexy times, obviously. But you'd have this knowledge that like, how can they ever have an actual HGA? Because she like obviously lives on the right side of the law.
Yes.
Very importantly, that's like a value system to her. And he doesn't. So even if they get out of the suspense angle, how are they going to live together and have an HGA?
Well, here's the other thing, because I always like to flip tropes, which is my favorite thing. So we have a trope that's a popular trope that you're always going to have, like, of course, like you said, the assassin is hired to kill the prosecuting attorney. But what if they were already sleeping with each other?
That's hot. Though I do still like to see the first moment. You know what I mean? I like to see the first, if I'm reading a book.
Yeah. Maybe you can always do a prequel, or you can do it. Yeah, and I really don't like, I do like to have those first moments too. But what if we see the first moment of them sleeping to each other, but it's before he was hired?
Right. Like that thing where they have a one night stand and then they're like, oh no, it's my boss, like the next morning. But instead it's like, oh no, I have to kill this person.
Yes, exactly. That's the flipped trope. Like and it's not even a weekend. I mean, a night. It's like a whole weekend. It's like the assassin that goes on vacation, so that you actually are you're going into act 2 when he finds out he has to kill her. So so
I actually do have a third part though.
Oh, tell me the third part
of my story.
Yeah, we had to.
So it's an assassin, prosecuting attorney, and their meet cute. And their meet cute is accidental wrong number and sexting.
See, then that's perfect, because then they do meet each other first.
They do meet each other first. Yeah. They don't meet on the job.
Accidental wrong number, sexting. He ends up like, maybe even she shows up because she thinks it's going to be somebody else. Like if they make a meeting. Well, how does that work?
Well, it could be like, what is that called when they like, not epistolary is not what I'm trying to say, but like when, they know someone via the texting and they get to know them that way. And then they get to know someone via physical and they don't realize it's the same person.
Yeah.
What's that called? Does that have a name?
Mistaken identity. I always call it, what is it? Like it's the you've got mail story.
Yes.
Trope.
How did they get to know each other though? In that?
He was the bookstore owner, like the rival.
That was the in-person one, but how did they get to know each other the other way?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I guess it's called You've Got Mail, so it's got to be email.
It was email. They were on screen because that was kind of a hard thing to do on TV, on a movie screen, that they were emailing each other. That was one of the down parts of that movie, I think. But they were, yeah, I think I can't remember how they some sort of like book people related email thing.
Yeah, and she would like ask him for advice and then he'd give it, but it's against himself.
Yeah. Yes.
Be like, hey, how do I escape this guy trying to kill me?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that one. Have you done that with trope before?
Accidental wrong number?
No, the trope of I'm not who you think I am.
Oh, weirdly, I can't remember. I don't think I've done it like seriously, like hardcore, where it's gone any sort of length of time,
Yeah, I did it with Katie McGee in Love Struck years ago, and it's hard. It's hard to keep that up. I mean, it's hard to like keep on justifying that there's two different people and you don't figure it out. So I like it when it's a mini trope and not like the main trope.
Right. I know. I thought it was interesting that they wanted that one out of other ones. So I sort of want there to be a reason why like they picked that wrong number, right? Like, especially if it's going to be like the coincidence of him having to kill her, which they didn't actually, like, that's not a requirement, but it kind of adds a level of drama.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm set on that. But let's think, there's a lot of different reasons that like maybe he has her phone number because he was given it because he's going to have to kill her, but he mixes it up somehow.
Yeah.
With another number in his phone.
Yeah.
That was the like hooker his friend recommended.
Or does she sext first? Like maybe she is supposed to, or like maybe
it's less creepy if she does it first. It's less creepy if she does it first.
Like maybe he texts something more ordinary because he's trying to insinuate himself into her life. Like, I'm gonna come fix your electricity tomorrow or something like that. And then she is trying to sext awkwardly, she's not like really done it, and she does it. And like, honestly, that's my worst nightmare actually, when I send anything, because I don't necessarily sext, but like I do send inappropriate texts all the time, and inappropriate links, inappropriate words, like to all sorts of different people. And the number of times I've hit send and then immediately done like a double check to see that I did it right.
I sent something like that really recently to my family thread that my mother and my children are on. I can't quite remember what it was, but my mom was like, oh my. Okay.
Yeah. I sort of feel like too, like when I look back, I've never had any huge snafus, but I sort of feel like, how would I know for sure, right? If like no one said anything.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, then that means he already knows that he's got a killer, which if that's what we're going to do, that's fine. But maybe he doesn't think she has to kill her at first. Maybe he just was told to get close to her first.
Ooh.
And he's assigned to kill her later.
I do like that. Yes. I mean, I sort of think anytime you have an assassin situation, any anti-hero situation, like you really have to get at why they're doing it in the first place, because they're either going to have to stop totally, or they're at least going to have to stop for her.
Yeah.
And it has to go against like their value system, and their value system is this is
Well, but here's the easy. Okay, now the way that I plot a story, and I don't know if you do this either. Like I have to find the place where it's going to go in the end, and then I find like the road the stuff in between. So I would say where this is leading to in the end is that eventually it will be his boss that gets, and then it's still like it's his boss that's going to go down. And so therefore she's still able to maintain her value system.
and then what is he going to still be an assassin?
Well, that's the question. Is he going to give that up for her, or does he have enough money now that they just run away to the Caribbean and live like on a beach, like Shawshank Redemption style?
I feel like if like the thing is, if she became a prosecuting attorney versus just like a commercial lawyer, she's not doing it for the money.
No, she's doing it for, but if she gets the big guy, if she brings down the biggest guy, and maybe though, the other part to like make it so that she has to give up her career is that she's gonna, if she brings down this guy, he's so big, she's gonna have to go into witness protection for the rest of her life.
Or that maybe like she has history with this big bad guy and he like hurt her sister or something like that.
Yeah.
And she sort of became a prosecuting attorney just so she could bring down guys like this. And it's why she goes so hard. And it's why he would need her killed, right? Because if you just kill one prosecuting attorney, they just get another one, right? Like it's not like one is that special unless one is that special because she's so determined.
Yep. No, that's great backstory for that. But then still, how are you going to end it there? Is she going to be okay when she gets the big fish and so now she's done?
I think you're going to have to go through her characterization where she's right, where she realizes she was working so hard for revenge and for justice about this one thing that she was like not really living her own life.
So then do they run away to the Caribbean? What do they do at the end?
I still sort of think she'd want to keep it. I just am open to the idea of her not keeping it, her job. And I think I like the idea almost of like him replacing the boss, but so he's still doing something illegal, but it's like a better version.
So
it's like not quite so murderous, you know?
and she just lives with it. Like
Yes.
he now is an equalizer who goes and gets the people that she can't.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That is another angle that like we didn't.
That's what it is. Yeah. Like
yes.
they come to this agreement that, in fact, maybe that's what even happens with the big boss. Like there's holes in the trial. It's not going to happen. She's not going to be able to pull him down. And she has to ask him to go kill.
Yeah. But the thing about killing like a big bad guy like that is that then there's a power vacuum.
Well, so then he needs to step into that spot.
Yeah.
And he'll step into it though, but take it
in a slightly better direction.
Yeah. Now it's the devil,
Yeah. Who plays by an honor system. It's not like the law honor system, but.
And he will always kill for her when she asks.
Right. And she comes to appreciate that not all things can be solved within the law. So she appreciates what he does better than she does when it starts.
So then if we know that that's where we're going, it's so much easier for me to plot the book. That's what I'd want to know right from the beginning.
Sorry, my dog is barking.
I have dogs.
Yeah. So I think that is where it's a good place for it to go. So then they meet with a sexting. He's getting close to her and he's like, why not? I'm getting close to her. Then he's obviously going to stalk her. He's going to be like, okay, damn, she's cute, but I don't care. I've seen a lot of cute people before. He's going to be impressed, I think. If she's really going so hard against this bad guy that she's a threat, like he's going to be impressed,
Yep. Well, how does she get his number? How does she end up accidentally sexting him?
So like we kind of had said, like he could start texting her in a way of like, I need to get close to you. I am the electrician or something like that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So then she's supposed to turn back and be like, respond and say like, this is what time would work for me. But instead she accidentally sends him the sext that she meant to send to like the partner lawyer in the firm.
Yeah. And I feel like I want the partner lawyer to be like, he's been pursuing her for a while and wanting her to be with him because he feels like they would be a power couple, and she's never really like liked him that way, but is also like, well, it's not like I meet anyone except for criminals, and maybe I should just try, you know?
Yes. Is her sister dead?
It could be something where she is, or it could be something where that's a twist and she's found.
Well, I was gonna say if there's somebody that like if her sister died and she has another sister or a brother that's like she wouldn't want you to like have given up your whole life, and that's the other reason she starts dating. She decides to sext the lawyer.
Right. She's
And it
definitely
ties
giving
back
up
to
her
that
life.
person that's revenge, the person that she's like living her whole life for this revenge now. It ties into why she would even like try to sext in the first place, because somehow somebody told her she wouldn't want you to give up everything. All right, well, this guy's been pursuing me.
Yes.
It's not, it's a fake giving, it's a fake like conceding to, all right, I'll sort of live my life by like dating somebody who does exactly the same thing I do.
Okay, so I have a real question. Like, what is the sext that she says? Is it okay? What if is it
Okay, so maybe he said something to her, like, because he always says like the dirty things to her, like, come on over to my house tonight and I'll make you my good girl or something like that. And so her sext is like, are you still willing to make me a good girl? Or it's dirtier, even like you still want a pair of my dirty panties, like something where like,
yeah,
she's replying to something.
I agree. It should be to something, replying to something, because then you can get more info from her. And then I really actually like, because it's more horrifying to me, I want her to not know. Like, I want her to just be nervous. Like, I sent it to my coworker. I wonder what he's going to say.
Yes.
And then it pops up like another text from the electrician, and she clicks on it. And then like that scene in Tangled, where she first leaves. Did you watch Tangled?
Yeah.
When she first leaves and then she just like runs around for like, you know,
Yes. Yes.
in like panic
Yes.
for like 5 solid minutes of screen time.
Yep.
That's what I want her to do.
Yeah. So it has to be horrifying enough, whatever the thing is that she says.
And then I think she has to straight up apologize. She has to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. That wasn't meant for, like, that was not professional. That was not, I was not trying to like sexually harass you. And he's like, you can harass me like a little bit, go on.
Yeah. Okay. Then it's going to be something like too, like where he says something, the guy at work had said something to her about like he's going to like make her feel his big dick energy, like something like that. And so then she can respond with like, I'm ready to see that big cock of yours now. Cause then then you got cock in there, and then you've got to a stranger that she's like told him something about his cock.
Plus, I mean, I just think it would be nice if like she were a virgin, because she's literally been just going to law school, which, kind of hard, and doesn't really trust guys, and is literally only around criminals. So she is a virgin. And here's the thing, you don't really know. Okay, this is coming off, I literally just saw in a group that was like, have you ever been with a guy who had like a micro penis? And then this person was like, yeah. Yes, right? And someone was like, yeah, I saw it. And I was like, oh dear. And then he blew my mind. That's what this person said. And
that did not happen for me. That's a better story.
That did not happen for you?
No, that did not, but.
Well, you know what? We win some and we lose some. But I think that there is something about like guys who have big dicks who like think they don't have to try, because they're like, that's all I have. So like that perfectly matches my vision of this lawyer dude.
Yes. Yeah. And of course he's always going to be bragging about that.
Yeah. He's going to be bragging. It doesn't even matter the size, but the fact that he thinks it's big is like, I don't have to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like the assassin could like call that out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because he'll see that it wasn't intended for him. And why would it be? They don't know each other. And she'll apologize. And he'll be like, who is this? Who is this guy? Like telling you who has a big dick. Like,
yes.
that's not necessarily what you need. And she's like, you don't know what I need. And he's then, he tells her what he could.
Even better. Yeah. So the sexting, accidental sexting that she's horrified about when she realizes turns into like him even goading her
Mm-hmm.
in that
And
way.
he'll tell her how he would actually start. You know what I mean? Which is
like, yeah, my cock isn't even going to come into play.
Yeah.
First.
But like he'll spell it out. He's like, I would like kiss you like on the side of your neck, and then I would open my mouth so I could taste you, and then I would work my way down. Like he would say stuff like that, and she would be like, she would see the contrast, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, she has to. Is she gonna have a vibrator scene after that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
or alone time?
the thing is, it's gonna be like all the way sexting, right? Like she's gonna do it while sexting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Is he gonna tell her to?
Absolutely. Well, he could ask her, like he could just be like, how do you like it? Do you like it? And she's like, what do you even mean? Because I'm a virgin, but like I'm not gonna tell you,
Yeah.
And he's like, do you like it like fast or slow? And like it, and and
he's gonna know though, just over from texting, because that's what he knows. He's so into her that he knows. Like whatever she says, he'll be like, oh, you're a virgin.
Oh,
I wouldn't say that. I didn't. Why would you know that? What did I didn't,
Right. Then you're so embarrassed. Like, what did I say about sex that made it clear that I don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. But then he's going to be even more. Then he says that. Then he's like even more.
But here's what I actually think she said that makes it clear that she doesn't know. Like, what if he sort of puts down this guy because he's just some loser who's trying to get you to do whatever, and he's talking about his big dick, and she defends him not because she likes him, but just because it's a way to be contrary to this guy. And she's like, oh no, like a big dick is definitely where it's at. Like that's all that's all I need. Because that's what sort of media tells you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I feel like if you hear that, no.
Yeah. No woman who's had sex would say that, right? Who's had good sex.
Yeah.
Would say a big dick is all I need. Well, actually, there are some people who would say that, wouldn't they?
I don't know. It's like, it's a pretty strong statement. I guess like they would be more likely to say like, I love a big dick versus like, it's all you need.
You're right. And if they said a big dick is all I need, he would maybe even like, no, maybe he doesn't even have to call out virgin. He could just call like, oh, you haven't had good sex yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I like him figuring out virgin though. I do
I do too. Go all the way. That's
it's kind of like her embarrassing thing,
Yeah. The more mortified she is, the better. I love that.
Yes. Oh, she'll be so mortified during this. And then he'll say, well, let's find out what you like right now. How do you do it? Like, do you have a vibrator? I'm just saying we could do it. What I just like really love the idea of her not having one. And
I was going to say the same thing because she wants to be really virgin.
No, and not that she's like never touched herself, but that because I'm just imagining this like mortifying but like still hot moment where she has to be on the phone with him, but like humping a pillow because that's how she learned to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because she doesn't give herself that. Like she doesn't allow herself to have pleasure.
Right, exactly. You'd have to purchase that. You'd have to.
Is dead.
I deserve that, right?
Pleasure. So therefore, I must never.
Right. But occasionally my physical needs will come up and I'll just do this thing quietly in the bed and no one has to know until you're on the phone with an assassin. And I definitely want her to be like, I don't know anything about you. And like, and he'll tell her like his first name, which is going to be something definitely hot. And then she'll be like, what do you do? And he'll like make up something like,
well, she thinks he's an electrician, right?
Oh yeah. Never mind. She's okay. He'll still make a joke about electricity dying, basically. You'll have to think of you'll just thinking of electrical term for that.
Yes. Well, electricity is not all he does. He can also, he'd say like, I'm not, because that would also really paint the difference between like people like her and her whole career being her whole life. And there's some comment about like, I'm more than just my job, you know, where he's
What's interesting is like they're both their whole jobs, right?
yeah, you're
They have
right.
that in common.
They do have that in common. You're right. But he's lying to her about the electrician part not being his
Right.
only.
He's like, yeah, I'm like super
I'm more than an electrician.
Okay. So they do the wrong number thing. Maybe he actually goes and does sort of like his recon where he gets to like pokes around in her apartment or something.
Well, if she makes his appointment, like, you know, after their end, it'd be a cute little fun little end of the scene where she's like, by the way, yeah, I'm available. Whatever the appointment time was, he'd asked that he was trying to make the appointment for eventually beginning. Like
Yeah.
she has
She'll be even more mortified, right? To have to see him and have to be like, oh yeah, here's my breaker panel, you know? And
so she might be like, what is she going to say like after the end, by the way, I think I need another electrician? Or is she going to be like, yes, come to my house at 4:00 and I will not be there?
so I definitely want her to be there just because.
Well, I want her to be there, but what does she do in the text?
No, she's going to try to like play it cool, right? She believes that she is the ultimate professional because really she is. She has been, right? Just lived her work. So she's like, oh my God, very weird moment there, but I always am professional, so I can do this.
Okay, so then that's her ending then. And by the way, yes, I am available at 4 tomorrow.
Right. So he shows up, she's blushing like mad because this is outside of her experience. He's like, she thinks he's just there, probably like sent by the landlord or something. Yeah. Because that's why he would reach out first versus her reaching out first.
Well, if she's a big prosecuting lawyer, like, doesn't she own her place?
In this economy?
Good call there, especially if she's young.
Okay. But when you think about it, even home ownership is a way of having your own life.
And you're right. And she doesn't have time for that.
Right. It's what do you do it so you can have more control, so you can like have financial security, but she's not trying to have those things. She's just trying to work.
It's just like she lives like in the DC area.
Right. There are some areas too where like it'd be much harder to buy close by.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a nice like historic type of brownstone or something.
Yep. Okay, I'm for that.
So yeah, he comes in and starts like poking around. She's like, okay. He's what? He's actually like, he's looking for weaknesses, or maybe he's like actually looking for like an evidence file or something like that he was sent to look for. But he's also cataloging all of the weaknesses, both that he would use as entry, but also it's frustrating him because now he kind of likes her, you know? He's like, this is how you live, so unsafe.
Yes. And then how far does this go? Because he's going to find out what's going to have happened by the time he finds out that he has to kill her, that she's his assignment.
How far will they go? I feel like he'll leave. It'll be a little bit too soon for them to have sex right there on that first like meeting. They'll obviously be flirty, maybe even an inappropriate kiss. I don't know, but he'll leave and he'll be thinking about her and she'll be thinking about him. And I guess maybe since she initiated it, he could be the one to reach out and be like, I've just been thinking about you. And now, and it was, you were already inside my head after the text, and now I know what you look like, and now I know what you smell like, and I can't get you out of my head, you know?
I like it. I would love it if it's really, really dirty, so that it's not an inappropriate kiss. The only mention they have to the other night is like he asks her, which pillow was it? And then he smells it.
Oh my God. Oh my God, for him to be standing right there and she's standing right there and there's the bed.
And then he leaves.
Yeah.
And says something like, you need to get a better bolt on that door as he leaves.
And he what?
A better bolt on that door.
Oh yes.
He can't help himself. Like,
right, exactly. He can't help himself. He's like, this luck is ridiculous. And He's like, I could break into it in like 3 seconds.
Yes. And that's his parting words.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, that is so fucking hot right there. Are we allowed to swear on this? 'Cause I'm swearing.
huh?
Are we allowed to swear? Because I just did.
We're definitely allowed to swear. I feel like we've said a lot of things that are almost like worse than swearing, really. But
Oh yeah. No, I would love that. That would be the best moment. It would be so hot. Then
I'm actually in love with it. I'm actually in love with it. Okay, so then I feel like someone should suggest that they get together, or I think that'd be a little bit more lighthearted. But what you know what might be interesting as well. So what does she do? She just works and then goes home and then works, but mostly works, right?
Yep.
And she works in this like sort of DC/urban area, so where there's a lot of crime, and she's a prosecuting attorney, so she's very aware of all the crime. And she's living like, you know, towards the middle of the city, right? Like not out in the safe suburbs, right? So maybe, and she's working really late hours. So what if, so they've sexted like twice, they've met once, and what if she's just leaving work and something happens that scares her? And she sort of is like afraid to keep going.
And he's the one she calls.
And he's the one she calls. Or he
He's just
calls her after she gets home and she's shaken.
Well, how much is he stalking her at this moment? Maybe she was even the reason he was scared.
I know. What if he's like stalking her and she gets home and she's like freaked out? And he's like,
Yes. I saw a car.
yeah,
And
he
he
should,
wasn't,
like,
and that
have this
shows like
feeling
how
someone
he's
was
off his
following him.
game. He's off his game because she would never have seen his car.
Oh
But
my God.
distracted by her, and so he fucked up.
Yeah, he does.
She saw him and beginner move, and she gets home and she's terrified. And he's the one she calls. Oh my gosh. You know what? This whole thing, you didn't tell me how much we were going to want to write these books afterwards.
Were we both just doing like mental calculations where it's like, how much time do I have? I have 0 time, right? I have 0 time to add anything.
Exactly. And it's like, how can I recreate this in the same way in my book that like gives the same moment, but is different? Don't you do that too?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So he comes in, he maybe comes over because she's so shaken. And I don't know, like, I think the question of conscience has to come up when you're talking about assassins. So like, obviously he's thought it's okay to kill all this time.
Oh yeah.
But we know from the ending
about that, about why you got into prosecuting, and okay, go ahead. I interrupted.
But also even just seeing her shaken by his actions. And she's now someone he cares about a little bit. Whereas before he didn't care about any of these people. They were just like, maybe he views the world as like a really like animal place, you know? Like it's like stalking a sheep. We don't worry about how the sheep feels.
Right. But now she's a person.
Yeah. And so like we're seeing him start to turn now that they're in person.
And now that he comes back, when he's come back to calm her when she's shaken and he comes over, I still really love when it takes a long time before they kiss. And they do lots of other dirty things before that.
Oh, that's super interesting. Because I'll often use a kiss as like, because I actually really like that for them to bang early. So I'll make them kiss instead to like, you know, but it's subversive to not do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the idea of like, I know that a thing that will calm you down, and like he goes down on her.
Oh yes, he absolutely
let me take your mind off of this.
Right.
But it's not romantic yet because he's not kissing her. It's for other purposes. So there's no kiss.
Right. And I like when they do that, and then when a guy does that and like he doesn't get off, because it's like this self-sacrificing act, you know?
Yep. And then if there's no kiss or anything either, it's like really totally, it was all about.
Yeah. But it's also like obviously the best experience of his life, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's shaken.
Right.
If something about that chapter leaves, if it's from his point of view, it's like, you know, something about how he arrived to calm her nerves and he's leaving more anxious than he's ever been in his life.
I love it. Yeah. And most likely you could put it in his POV, but even if you didn't, if you were in hers, you could still see him just sort of like literally shaken.
Yeah.
Or like a break catch in his voice or something like that. Some little sign that he's not like himself.
Yes. So we still know that, even the reader knows that.
Yeah. Okay, so then it depends on how long the book is, actually. But
I mean, 'cause now he's either got to get the assignment now or this is a trilogy. Or do it.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's more you could do, but okay, hottest, fastest thing, he gets the assignment now.
He gets the assignment now. Yeah, because he walks out and well, so now the next chapter has to be from his POV. Either that chapter or the next one, because it could be he left that amazing moment and he gets to the car to find.
Oh yeah, not even give him a breath.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Okay, I think that call, like if he just gets it and it's like killer and it's a boss that he doesn't care about, it's just too easy to say no. I think there needs to be a reason why he owes this guy.
Yeah.
And why he does this work for him. I don't even care really what the reason is, but like it's a personal reason. It's a debt of honor.
Oh, yep. I like that. Debt of Honor. You do need to read Monster in His Eyes. I'm telling you, it's one of my favorite books.
I'm probably gonna have to read it now because I'm gonna want this.
Yeah.
This entire thing is just an ad for that book.
Exactly.
Which I don't mind at all. But no, okay.
So yes, there has to be something that he feels very, very connected or honorable about it. Yes, I agree. It even can be that whatever maybe it's not even the guy he owes. It might even be the particular case, like is involved that somebody he cared about died, or I mean the same sort of thing. They both have somebody that they're.
Yeah, I thought of one, but it wasn't related to the case. Like, what if it was a situation where he and his dad were broke. Mom left a long time ago. Dad's not a great dad, but he's doing the best he can. And gets in too deep with a gambling debt. Gets beat up a bunch of times. So he has that like visceral memory of pain. And the guy is finally like, we have to kill you. Like, we have to make an example out of you. And the boy is like, let's say youngish, like maybe 15. And there's nothing he can actually do to like pay this money back, but he like begs them. He's like, how can I save his life? And they're like, here's how. Trade your life for his. Like, become the person who does whatever I say.
That feels very Emma O'Keefe to me. Like, I like that. That's a good.
I love her.
I love her. I both love her. But can you see that like vibe? I can see that vibe.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
So, okay.
So we're giving you lots of advertisements of books to read.
I know. I'm literally going to have to I don't find out how to put links because we're going to do that. Yeah. Okay. So he gets this order and he immediately does what he's never done before, which is question it. He doesn't maybe question it in a super dumb way, but he's like, do we really need to kill her? Like, I thought we could just like neutralize the threat or something like that. But he never questions this guy normally because he's sunk so deep into this identity of this being this like Rottweiler basically for this guy. And
I like it if it's not even just a phone call. There's somebody like waiting at his car. Like it's
no, I agree. It's stronger in person, especially with a personal level. Like almost like, if you're young enough, there's this weird sort of like paternal thing that can happen,
Yes. I'm still with you. I'm just opening my door. Keep talking. My dog got locked out, and so she was like yipping in the background. Like, let me in my office.
Yeah, they do not appreciate this gate that I have on my office. So they always want it open. They don't want it closed.
Yeah. Yes, he's there in person for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I like, so I like that. So he is in the car.
Because then you could still have that scene from her point of view.
But they're really interesting. And then end it. And then you see him.
And then he walks to his car with that, you get one paragraph of like his thoughts about it.
But here's the wild part about them being in such close proximity. Isn't the guy going to figure it out? You know what I mean? You just went down on a girl. Like, you might smell like sex. You're hard. Like, you're shaken,
Oh, the other guy?
Yeah, like they're so close.
He doesn't care. Doesn't care if he's sleeping with her.
I think
he might even be the kind of assassin guy who has slept with women before to kill them.
Right. No, he's not going to feel, but see, when this guy pushes back, when the assassin pushes back and is like, do we need to kill her? Like, I could neutralize her. He's going to be like, why would you even ask me that? Are you falling for her? Do you like her? Do you want to fuck her? Just go fuck her and then you can kill her. you know?
Well, yeah, that is, I mean, I think that adds more attention if the other guy, we got to give this bad guy, if bad guy, just bad guy. If bad guy knows, it adds more attention.
Right.
Is
Right.
it too early?
No, I like it. I like it because he already knows once the death order has been given that it will happen either way, right? He's either going to do it or someone else is going to do it. But the fact that this guy now questions his loyalty means he can't even trust that he still has a job, you know?
Yes. Which is why I might want to wait. Like it might want to have the second time again, though.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So in the car, he's like, I'm too fucked up. I can't think straight. So I'll just say what I would always say, which is sure, boss. And then they leave it. And he's like, do it by the end of the week or something like that.
Yep.
And then he sees her again.
It doesn't matter if he smells sex on her or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, cause he didn't push back. It's fine.
Right. And he sees her again, maybe stalks her, maybe.
We even have to think as the reader that he hasn't decided. I mean, we all know because it's a romance. So we know.
Oh, right. I like
that. For the moment, he hasn't decided. Like he might actually kill her. I've done this before. I can do it.
Right. I want him to be around her when he literally could. When he's like, it would be so easy. It would be too easy. And it pisses him off that someone so vulnerable could just be out in the world. And it's so easy for someone like him to just come along. And right now he could do it. No one would know. He's not behind a camera. Like they could even
have some hand necklaces in this book then too.
Yes. Like I want him to, I mean, listen, if you're going to do it, right?
Yeah, do it. Right.
I want him to, and I want him to say, like, do you know how easy it would be?
Yeah.
And she's like, this is creepy, but like weirdly hot. And he's like, damn it. And that could be like the first time they have sex. Just right there after they've said that,
Yeah, like he's going in there to kill her and then he ends up fucking her.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, I can't do it. Then he does the gentle pushback that immediately blows up because the guy is just, he knows him. He's like, this is my good, obedient dog, assassin person. And why would he ever question me unless he was into this girl?
And then he doesn't know if he has the job anymore.
Exactly. So then he's like, during that convo, he's like, maybe a little paternal, like, listen, you're relatively young. You're younger than I am. So like, you may not know that like good pussy is like all around and,
yeah.
And, or you'll find another girl or whatever, You
think it's the best you've ever tasted, but there's always.
Yes. And the assassin backs down. He's like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm going to do it. But in his head, he's like, is this guy buying it or is he not? Because he's not stupid, right?
Right.
You never want your bad guys to be too stupid.
No, that's not hard.
Yeah. You don't make the hero's job easy. You make it hard.
So bad guy, yep. Bad guy does. So now his whole goal has changed though. Because now assassin has got to be, he's got to figure out what he's going to do. He's got to where are we at now in the book? Do you think? Are we at like, are we past?
I feel like we're at like 60%.
I think so too. I think we're closing in on that, like 3/4. He's got to now like protect her from.
Well, he's got to just figure out how far he's going to go because there's a difference between wanting to protect her, which he does. He has decided by then he wants to protect her, and turning on your like killer father.
Yeah.
That's two different.
Is it first, I can't be the one to kill her?
Or even is it first, I will make sure she's safe, but maybe I'll make sure she's safe, like whether that's like witness protection, whether that's whatever, but then I will forfeit my life because it's owed to someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to go have an HEA with you.
Yeah.
I will make sure you're safe, but then I will let him kill me or something like that.
Yes.
Or maybe it's like, if I just get you through this trial, it will be fine because he doesn't necessarily hold a grudge. He's just trying to he's not that kind of a guy. He just is doing it because you're a dog with a bone, but whichever way that the case comes out, it will be over. There's no motivation to get you anymore.
So in the middle of this happening then, so like, okay, he has the task to kill her. He's going to see her again. We think he's going to kill her. He doesn't. He ends up having sex with her. During this, like these moments with the heroine, she has to start pushing about what is it like, open up to me kind of.
Oh, right. Well, she's going to question why he's going to have to be like, you're in danger. I have to stay here. Someone else is going to eventually come for them. He's going to have to explain like what he's protecting her from, which is himself, or the version of him that's coming after them next.
Yes. Remember that time that you thought you were being followed? You were.
Oh, that was me. And then she'll disbelieve him because she's likes him now. She doesn't want it. And he'll have to say, I watched you do this private thing when you thought no one was looking.
Yes. And she's mad.
Oh yeah, she's mad. And how can she trust him?
Yep.
Like, even though, why would he be saying this if he were just, he's going to say, she's going to say, how could I trust you? And he's going to say, why would I be telling you this? If I was just going to kill you, I just would have killed you. And she's like, I don't know what your weird game is, but would you trust someone who said they were trying to kill you? Like, and who's been watching you and has been lying to me? Maybe she even throws him out. She's like, get out.
Yeah. She even picks up the phone and says she's going to call the cops, but she doesn't. She's just like, just get out.
Yeah. And so he like, what is he going to do? Just like watch the front of the place, and they're going to creep in through the back, and he's going to see, and he's going to come in and save her. Except even when he takes her away, like there's no place that's safe right now.
No. And she doesn't want to leave. She wants to see this through.
Right. There's no place close except, so he probably, I love it when they've been keeping a safe house. You know what I mean? When they have like secrets from their boss, even though they claim to trust their boss and they claim they had no exit plan, but in a way it's premeditation,
Yep.
Like, and so he's got this one place that he like never tells his boss about, and he takes her there, and knowing that she'll at least be safe for now, even though they don't have a plan. And in that place, whatever it is, it's the real him, right?
Yep. And then that's where all the secrets come down, right? That both of them to tell about like why they're who they are.
And this is actually very M. O'Keefean as well, because what if the dad's still alive? He's like much older right now. His health is not great.
Then he owes nothing.
Oh yeah, no. But imagine how much harder that would be for this assassin to actually leave, because the one life he's protected all this time is still there. It could all be for nothing, right?
Yep.
And also, like, you can't travel quickly with like an elderly person, So he's got this woman in tow who doesn't want to leave, and he's got an elderly person. So he cannot travel fast the way he might himself. So like, they need the solution we already came up with, which is that he takes over, because nothing else would work.
Yeah.
But I think he's got to avoid killing. He's got to want to not kill his boss because of that like sort of paternal thing they have.
Oh, I think
in a way,
beg him. I think she has to ask him to do it.
I like it. I think in a way,
for her, yeah.
When the book starts, even though he hasn't necessarily defined it to himself, his honor system is he'll kill anyone except for the paternal father and his actual father.
Yeah.
And so he has to violate that in order for this book to end, in order for him to progress. The circle doesn't just expand to include her. He also has to kill the other guy, but he'll wait till the very end because he won't want to.
Or it's I'll kill anyone but family, and his definition of family changes.
Yes. And she'll have to tell him, like, he's just using you. And part of him, I don't know how much he's in denial about that, but like, whether he's like, I know I'm just being used, I don't care. Actually, you know what this reminds me of?
What
is the name of it? It's a historical romance. He's an anti-hero.
I'm not as fluid in the historical, so probably won't know. So
there's this guy who is like sort of a headmaster spy type, head spy. What are they called? Spy master. I had to get there. There's this like spy master in like Regency England, I will find the name of it because it's just not even there in my head right now. So I'll find it and like put it in the show notes or whatever. But he's the spy master, and he hears through the grapevine, like through someone, that he had sired this bastard. So he goes to, like doesn't even care that much, but he goes to this workhouse, which is basically like a really terrible orphanage where all these kids are doing work, and is like, which one of you is named, I think like let's say Henry or whatever. And this hero is not Henry. And I think he thinks like it might be this other kid who's like sniffling and he's sick and he's like not going to last very long. And no one is saying it, maybe because they're afraid of this guy, or maybe they don't think they're Henry or whatever. And this guy steps forward and says, I'm Henry, like as like a 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And then I think the guy, the dad even maybe sees that this is not his kid. Like, this kid looks like me and this kid doesn't, and is like, sure, I'll take an ambitious kid. And he turns him into like this killer, this like blade basically. And so the hero is like, I can never turn on my master because like they do have that weird, like toxic paternal relationship. But also he's like, I mean, I stole this life, right? Like, this whole thing was like poison from the moment I stepped forward, just trying to get out of there. So he has a lot of guilt. Anyway, it's a really good book. I love a tortured hero.
Oh, I do too. When you figure, I'm going to read the show notes.
Yeah. Kennedy Ryan, that's like, my brain only wants to supply that, also loves this book. I'm like, thank you. That's not what I was asking, brain, but thanks.
Well, you can reach out to Kennedy. She'll tell you.
I know. And he also has this like ruined hand, and I don't remember how it's ruined. I'm sure it's some symbolic way, but like he touches her with it on purpose, because like when he first touches her, he touches her with that hand to like punish her. And he actually says it like, is this how you're punishing yourself, using me? And she's like, what? No, because it's just like, so how it shows how he feels about himself,
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That is the feeling that we get with our assassin.
Yes. So where do we leave it? He is now on the run with her and dad. No, he's not on the run. He's in his safe house, but they've got to do something because they'll eventually get flushed out, because it's like a full-on manhunt, and the entire city's gonna like freak out, right, that their prosecuting attorney is missing, like as this giant case is happening. So, but she wants to finish the case, and maybe like he wants her to finish the case too, but mostly she wants to finish it and she has to finish it. So she gets back in touch with like maybe her colleague.
Yeah, the douche lawyer.
And yes, the douche lawyer.
He's got to come back into it.
Yeah. And like, depending on how douchey you wanted him to be, like he could just he'll definitely give her a hard time, because he'll question, where has she been? You're with some guy, like, are you sleeping with him? Like, he'll be like that kind of douchey.
Yeah. He's just slimy.
But I also feel like he could be extra, like he could sell her out.
Oh yeah. I like that kind of douchey too.
So he says, okay, fine, I will, set this up to like get you safely into the courthouse or whatever. I will do something. So like, be here at this place and time. And the assassin doesn't trust anyone. So he's like, can we trust this guy? And she's like, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to do his job. Like, he's just kind of an asshole, but like, it'll be fine. And they show up. It's a trap. The guy's actually there, and he says he did it for the money, but like, or like saying maybe it's a little bit of like a dirty cop like city.
But which way did he trap her? Like, did he show up and does he realize she's with some known assassin and show up with good cops to arrest assassin? Or does he show up?
Does he reach out to the bad guys?
Yeah. Which side is it? Because it's kind of interesting when you got both.
It is interesting. I actually like, in my head when I first suggested it, I was thinking he called the bad guys, but I think it's more believable he called the good guys, because he can claim he's only doing it for her own good, which is exactly what douchey guys like to claim.
Yeah. And then it again becomes that battle. I think it really helps them. It's too easy.
Right.
Him a bad guy, and then
the assassin has had so much power. We haven't really seen him be threatened. And so then you see him have to run.
Yep. He's
maybe because he's in a weak spot.
You have to kill a couple of people to get out. He just maims them.
Or like, or like he's confronted with someone that he would normally have killed on the spot, and he pauses and like it's a reflective of how she's changing him.
Yes.
So
he just hits him over the head instead.
he's like, "What's? I'm so weak now.
What's going on with me?"
Okay, so maybe because he is in a weak spot where he like is having on the run from these cops really quick, he accidentally gets caught by like the boss's people.
Oh, he gets shot too as he's leaving.
Oh,
he gets shot.
Yeah, hurt comfort.
Yeah.
So, but I like him ending up back with the bad guy so he can be like, I'm not sure that's how it should go. But if it did happen, he would try to convince him. He's like, listen, man, you know, I just had to run from the cops. Would I have to do that if I were working with them? You know, like I'm not turning.
Yeah. Look, I was there to do the job, and this.
Yeah.
The cops were waiting. It was an ambush.
Yeah.
Why were you at the safe house or anything? Well, because the girl's got, she's high prosecutor. She's got like security on her at all times. I had to get her like away from people.
Yeah, which like I think the cop, I mean, I think that I don't think the bad guy will like be trusting. However, he might rely a little bit too much on his own arrogance. Like I don't trust the people in general, but I trust the fact that I have created this Rottweiler.
Yep. Yeah.
So I could see him. I don't know if we want to go there. I mean, we're already doing an assassin, so like, why hold back now? But I could see him like, what if he like doesn't get shot, but he actually has his people beat him up? Like, even though I believe you screwed up.
We were thinking the same thing. So it's like, if he's created a Rottweiler, he probably has like trained him with abuse.
Yeah. So your dog messed up and you're a terrible person. So you just like beat him and then he's learned his place.
Yeah.
And maybe it's actually terror. Instead of like, I was first thinking like, what if he ordered someone to beat him up? But what if it's like, he does it with his own hands? And the thing is, this guy doesn't fight back. Like that's their thing, because his dog wouldn't.
Right.
That's like been turned into a blade. So he still takes it.
Yep.
And maybe it's the first time that he hasn't just took it because he felt like he deserved it, and instead is taking it so that he can make it back to her. Because right now, even if he turned on the leader and killed him, like there are too much set in motion. Like there's too many people waiting.
That's his goal right now, is to protect her from.
Right. So the way he's like, the way to get out of this is to make him believe that I'm under his control again.
Yeah. This is not.
And this is like this is a little bit double crossy, but I feel like I like it. What if the douchey lawyer called both?
Oh, I love that. I really love that. It's unexpected too.
Yeah. So like you expect him to call the good cops because that's the side that he's on. And he gets to look like a whatever. But what if when he gets her alone, he hands her over to the bad guy, and the bad guy is like, yeah, I knew that you were going to be my Rottweiler or whatever. I didn't like lose sight of that, but you were screwing up. So you had to be removed. I had to have someone else do it. So they bring the woman.
Yeah. So they want him to watch.
Guy. And then the assassin's already there. And I love like a nice like captivity standoff.
Yeah.
Right.
So then he has to kill Dad.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah. And he kills him. And it's like, emotional, because it's like killing the side of him that ever thought that was okay. It's killing like his identity.
I think there has to be a conversation before this too with her. That is somehow, if there's a way to do it, even if it's like planted early on, about like, if you get rid of the bad guys, somebody else has to step in.
Yes.
So we've set that up as, that's what happens. Because even like, why are you a prosecutor? Because the minute that you put somebody in jail, somebody new is going to take that place. It's like it's a hamster wheel.
Right. And she can even say to him then, like, I'm not interested in every bad guy. I'm interested in this one, because she has something personal.
Yeah.
But then when they succeed, like, well, even before they succeed, he shoots the bad guy, and his whole reason, like he wasn't killing him up until that now, is I have to keep her safe, and that's the most important thing. And if I leave, someone else will just do it. So become the leader and come after them. So he steps into that position, and he's like, this is my place now. And he can be super alpha, you know, like super commanding as he like locks this place down. Maybe he like also secretly has like some guys who he has really strong loyalty, so they back him up, so they like take over the whole place really quickly once it's decided, you know.
Yes. Well, then I'd like if he has to give her this choice, then I like, you know, now it's like, what about us? And I mean, if we already set up that whole idea that somebody's got to take over the place, and she just watched him take it all over.
Yeah.
And now he's here, and
she's like, I mean, they're gonna have this moment where they're like, we can't be together, because see, like, we already secretly worked this out, but they're not gonna know that. So
they don't know that. And he's even that's even when he's like, you want to turn me in. You can turn
he's like, this is the only way. No, not even you can't even turn me in, because here's the thing. He's like, I have to be in this position because it's the only way I can keep you safe.
But I like it if he can say that to her, but he lets her choose it.
Yeah, but who's gonna protect her if he's gone, you know?
Right. He knows that, and he puts that on there. He's like, don't, and I'm begging you. He might not even like really follow through because
I mean, okay, realistically, would he like really walk away? I mean,
right. But he can say to her, like, you want to put me behind bars for everything you just saw. Someone else is going to step into my place.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but he doesn't try to like physically stop her. No, like
no,
go do it.
So I don't think he physically, but I like the idea of like she has to. She walks out, right, without calling cops on him.
Exactly. No, it's more than just like her love for him. She sees the limitation of the law.
Yes. So that's why it has to be her choice.
Yes.
To not prosecute him.
Right. And like to actually see what they're doing as like an extension of keeping the city safe versus like it doesn't change her values. She's just widening her understanding of like all the factors.
So is this like a really dramatic, like short, like ending where like she leaves, she's gonna let him be, and she goes off. Like, do we cap it at the end with her showing up at his doors with her texting and it's like, I have somebody that you need to.
Oh, like the ending?
Yeah. Does that where we get to the ending? Like, or is that how we get them back together? Is like her where she realizes they can still be together because she brings him somebody else.
Yeah.
And so she's realized we can be together because I figured out we're both on the same side a little bit.
Yeah. And then I see them like, I like them like living in like the same brownstone, but like purchased.
And I guess if douchey guy is gone now, then nobody knows that he was like the assassin.
Right. And so he just takes over like the official business interests, but he's never going to be caught, you know?
Yeah. She introduces people to him as, meet my electrician.
He's my electrician. Okay. I have come very close to figuring out which book it was. All Through the Night by Connie Brockway. That's what it is.
All Through the Night. Okay.
Historical romance, basically assassin who's been raised that way.
All right, I'm gonna Google that right now. Good job.
It took so long. I love all of her books, but that's my favorite for sure.
I haven't read anything by her. I like historical fiction. I just don't pick it up that much.
I'm a little bit obsessed.
Oh, I know.
But I like it. I like trying to take stuff that I've read in those. And like, that's the thing. Like, those books aren't even really called always dark or subversive, you know?
Right.
It's just like a regular book.
I know. And that's fun to take those and like kind of put
I literally was scrolling.
And put them in our books.
Yeah, and to put them in our books, because that's what I was wondering. I was like, did anyone use the word dark to describe this book? And I scroll down in Goodreads, and the first one is, this was quite an emotional, beautifully written book. Perfectly satisfying, deliciously hot. I mean, like, these are my people, obviously, but you know, you do that in contemporary, and that's not all people say, you know.
Right. Exactly. I know, even in the Amazon, read reviews that mention, and like it has all the words, you know, that they've used a lot. Yeah, there's nothing dark. Jack Seward. I think I have heard about this before. I might have seen you and Kennedy talking about it online.
I will literally talk about this, but I want to just like alternate podcasts that really no one would want to listen to. It's just me breaking down like paragraph by paragraph every book by like all my favorite historical romance people.
Okay, I'm putting it on my list. I also like how on Amazon they accidentally have sheet music attached to it because they probably have Cyndi Lauper.
Why, Amazon? Why? Related to Amazon, she was, I think, like the first, if not the first, one of the first, but I think actually the first historical romance author who was picked up by Montlake when they opened.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Not this book, I think, but other stuff. So we did it. We reached the end. Are you an epilogue person mostly?
I only write epilogues for the audience. I don't like epilogues.
Epilogues are so hard, but here's the thing why I think they're hard. This is the real truth. Because they can't have conflict, and conflict is what drives the story.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just not interested in them because all the conflict is over. Honestly, in a book I'm reading, as soon as it looks like they're going to be together, I'm bored.
Right, exactly. This is what, okay. I saw this whole thing and I almost made a TikTok about it, but then I was like, no, because people kept slamming third act breakups.
Yeah, that's a big thing right now.
And I was like, without a third act breakup and no suspense, which is what we had in this case, then you really have nothing to worry about, right? Because the couple just gets together at the beginning and then stays together forever. So it's like your HEA happened in the first 10% of the book.
Yeah. You know what, though? That's not the case. This last book that I just wrote didn't have a third act breakup, but I've never done that before, and I didn't do it on purpose. But it got to the point where like they were not together. They're not together. They're not together. And by the time they get together, like the things that they have to sacrifice and the tension are deciding what things they have to give up in order to still be together. So the tension.
So I think it has to be, I think it can still be external conflict.
Yeah. And it still wasn't even external because it was choices they had to make about like, like what kind of person do I want to be? Is this this was everything I invested my life in. Is this still the direction that I want to go? I have to give that up to be.
Right. You always have to give up some part of your identity.
Yes. And it worked. They didn't break up through it. I
think like, I don't necessarily write them being like, I'm broken up and like show them apart. Like, I don't always necessarily do that, but I always need like you to really believe they're not going to be together in the dark moment.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, it's way easier with suspense because like, if you don't live, you're not together, but
yeah. Yeah. This is the first time I've ever done it where it's not, well, no, like the dark moment of like, rivalry or rising, which is book 4 in a 4-book series, though. By that time they're like married and the dark like totally, it was again the same thing. It was like whether or not we're going to come out together through this or whether we're gonna, but there wasn't really breakup-y.
I do see how like if it's this, oh no, I misunderstood what kind of series you were saying. Okay, I get it though.
Yeah, I don't find it. I like to have the tension. I prefer to have it, but I do see where there are some places where I think that's what you have to have tension. There has to be some sort of tension to keep me interested.
Yes.
The tension,
so that's why with an epilogue, like
it's boring.
I like to put in mini surprises, like mini surprise, MINI.
Me too. Same
yes. Thing. Like the heroine is just like innocently going about her business and she hears a noise and like, who is it? And then he sneaks up on her or something like that. And then you saw like There was at least this tiny moment.
Yes. Oh, yes. You articulated that. I feel the same way. I do the same thing. There has to be something that comes back from earlier in the story that you were
Yes,
like,
a callback
what was
first.
going to happen with that? Oh, we just,
You know what we need to call back?
what it is the video of you guys having sex in the office earlier.
We need to call back sexting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They have to sext at the end.
While she's like in the middle of a trial or something, like some place where, because they're together now, so they don't like have to sext. So like, so when are they gonna sext? Like, he's gonna be sitting in the back, or like more creepily, like not in the building, but like using a telescope to like look at her.
Yes. Mortifying. Like, yep. I love that.
And he like texts her something dirty, and she just like, and she's in court, and she just like picks up her phone and looks at it and puts it back down. And then he knows like what's happening to her body right now. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's turning him on, and she like shifts a little in her seat, just like the tiniest bit, but it means a lot because she's supposed to be professional,
Yep. Yeah. I love that.
We did it. We did an epilogue.
We did an epilogue.
We did a whole story plus an epilogue.
This means that I should be able to plot my own books faster than I do. There's no reason that you can't plot your next book in a week, Laurelin. It's on now. It's on now.
Yeah.
It's fun.
No, that's actually a really good point. I do feel like it's just natural. We have no perspective, or I don't. I overthink everything. I can't just be fun. It's like, what is the best thing? But is there anything better? Let's think on it for like another few weeks.
Yes. Are you high intellection too?
Yes, number one intellection.
Oh, you're number one intellection. Interesting. See, we couldn't remember the last time we talked about it. You couldn't remember what your number one was.
It's definitely intellection. And I discovered that too. I had someone approach me about writing something new, and I usually have ideas in the hopper that have been like working for a really long time in the back.
Yeah.
And I tried to come up with something new, and I was like, I love everything about this. I just needed to stew for like 2 years.
Same way. I'm not a number one intellection. I think I'm number 5, but I used to play drums like in middle school. And when we had to have a jazz band and we had to do like the improv, like I couldn't improv. Like I had to create the improv beforehand.
Improv in general is
rehearsing my improv.
Yeah.
That has always been me.
But in a way, I don't know if there's like, it's so wild to me that there's any other option,
Yeah, but I've seen people that are different.
Right. Some people who are truly living in the moment. Actually, because of course my husband is a number one communication. So which just means he likes to talk a lot,
right,
all the time. And so for an intellection, like a number one intellection, we're just like, opposites attract.
Oh my gosh. The same with my husband. He's really high communication too. And it's like, no, he's like a number 5 communication. And yeah. I'm low communication.
Okay, can we think of a name? Or can we think of a
we need a title for this. Like, what is it, like the assassins?
What is the phrase when they're like something to kill, license to kill?
Yes. What are phrases with kill? So this is how I come up with titles. Phrases with kill.
Something is murder. Dead on arrival. What is the theme aside from assassin? It's
father.
It's father figure.
Family.
It's family. It's like being honed. Revenge a little bit from like both of their histories. Like her history with her sibling.
Kill shot.
I like kill shot because it's simple. It's short. You know exactly what it's going to be about. And you could play with the theme throughout because he's going to have all these kill shots of her and he's not going to take them. And then he's going to take it with his boss at the very end. And then, in his sights.
Oh, in his sights. Good one.
Because then at the end, she'll literally be in his sights in our epilogue.
Yep. That's what it is. In his sight.
Okay. Yeah, I have to have us come up with a title from now on. I'm going to type this out too. And then I'm going to put Connie Brockway's book and J.M. Darhauer's book. Okay. We did it. We came up with an
Yay!
entire story and we have book recs for you guys. So I feel like we really win. We win the day.
Oh, we did win the day. I feel accomplished. That's like the most accomplished thing I've done all week.
This was fun. I really appreciate you doing this with us. And I think it's so interesting that this is what the readers picked. So
I know. I love it. That was really fun. Yeah. Now I'm just gonna do this like for a party game. Let's play Skye story slot machine.
I'm gonna bring it with me now to signings, you know.
Yes. You need to actually make a board game of it.
Oh my God. Don't tempt me with things that take up time because I will do them.
No. Are you also a high activator?
I'm actually not, which is shocking that I can get anything done. But you know, I'm a really low one. But if I like it enough, you know,
Yeah.
go. Can't let it go.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay. I'm going to let you go. Thank you. And we're going to have in the show notes where you can find Laurelin Paige's books and all the stuff we talked about. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. And I will have story time with you guys next time. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to Storytime with Skye. I hope you enjoyed the story we crafted this week. Please subscribe so you don't miss a new episode, and leave a review so that other listeners can find our show. We always put links for any books we discuss, as well as books by the guest author, in the show notes, so you can definitely find something new to read. And if you want to help choose our romance adventure, be sure to join our Facebook group, Storytime with Skye. That's where we gather suggestions and poll our readers, just like you, to find out what our next story will be. Thank you for being part of the story.
Welcome to the story. It's story time with Skye. You can fall